And Nancy, was she with you at this night swim?
No.
Yes. We're not sure.
Stranger Things Season 5 is slated for release in 2025, and it's confirmed to be the last installment in the long-running sci-fi drama. After the events of the 4th season, here at Screen Rant, we know exactly how we want the show to end. For starters, with Will sensing that Vecna is still alive, and with the Upside Down threatening to devour Hawkins, 11 needs to kill Vecna once and for all in Season 5. In the finale of Season 4, the group's shaky plan to take on Vecna all at once actually worked. While 11 piggybacked via Max's mind to fight Vecna, Steve, Nancy, and Robin set Vecna's physical form on fire using Molotov cocktails. A continent away, Hopper, Joyce, and Murray destroyed Demigorgons on a hunch that it can weaken Vecna, and in the end, it worked. 11 may have lost against Vecna, but as his physical form was destroyed, his astral form that 11 and Max faced turned to ash. However, Vecna also succeeded in briefly killing Max before 11 could revive her, allowing Vecna to finish opening the gate to the Upside Down. Now, the giant rift in the middle of Hawkins threatens to devour the town, with both Will and the descending spores confirming that Vecna will return. When that happens, 11 needs to settle things once and for all, and ensure that Vecna stays dead. And based on how things went down in Season 4, this is only possible through the return of another character.
I can't feel or see anything.
The good news is that Max will indeed be back for the next and last season, which means that she survived Vecna's attack for a second time. This was doubtless an extremely traumatic experience, but in order to save Hawkins, Max needs to do it again. As seen in Season 4, baiting Vecna and piggybacking through someone's mind can allow 11 to strike at Vecna first. And as Max herself would most likely insist, the safest way to do it again is through her own mind, as she gets more and more familiar with Vecna with each attack. So apart from just waking up from her coma, Max needs to find a way to actually help 11 in the fight. After all, if 11 and Vecna begin to battle in Max's mind, then Max should be able to figure out a way to control the arena. It's not going to be easy, so Max and 11 shouldn't be alone in this fight.
And I'm always here for you too.
As the last episode of Season 4 reminded viewers, Will Byers spent a lot of time in the Upside Down, back when he was kidnapped by a Demigorgon in Season 1. The Season 1 finale even ended with Will coughing out a slug-like creature that later grew into a Demigorgon. Will also saw the Mind Flayer through nightmarish visions before it actually manifested in Season 3. And in the ending of Season 4, Will sensed what even 11 could not, that Vecna is still alive and is somewhere nearby. Will even tells Mike that he already knows how Vecna thinks, which is how he can confirm the villain's presence. And this opens the windows for Will to finally leverage his unnatural connection to Vecna. In the upcoming final fight, Will should be the key to finding Vecna's main weakness, which should be something that's tied to Will's past in the Upside Down. In fact, as any epic, dramatic series finale will need at least one sacrifice, there's no better character for this role than Will Byers. Based on everything that's ever happened to Will in Stranger Things, Season 5 should reveal that Will Byers is actually Vecna's phylactery.
I have seen into the future, and I've seen that today is a new day. A day free of girls.
In Dungeons & Dragons, a phylactery contains the essence of a lich, and by feeding souls to its phylactery, a lich can become and stay immortal. However, this takes a physical toll on the lich, not unlike Victor Creed's transformation into Vecna, which is why the D&D obsessed teens gave him the moniker in the first place. And while Vecna took souls for the sole purpose of opening the gates, what's missing from the equation is his phylactery. Many have theorized that this phylactery is actually the grandfather clock, which appears time and time again in the show. It would be quite clever to hide Vecna's main weakness in plain sight, but this would mean that simply destroying the clock would destroy Vecna, which is no way to end Hawkins' best villain. It would be even better if Will Byers himself was Vecna's phylactery all along, hiding in plain sight since Season 1. This would mean that, in order for 11 to finally kill Vecna, Will would have to die as well. On one hand, Will arguably doesn't deserve such a tragic ending, especially after his realizations in Season 4 that his love for his best friend Mike will never be reciprocated. On the other hand, the salvation of Hawkins can only come at a heavy price, which means that at least one of the original 4 gang members needs to die. And not only is Will the most logical choice, his history with Vecna practically assures them both an epic ending. After all, Will was always the leader. Back when the gang still had time to play D&D, he would proudly sacrifice himself if it meant saving Hawkins. And Mike, Dustin, and Eleven will make damn sure that everyone remembers Will Byers. Before we get there, however, it's time for the town itself to start pulling its weight in the show.
11 trusted us. Now we're asking the same from you.
Agent Ellen Stinson will doubtlessly bring the might of the federal government down on the invading creatures from the Upside Down. And with Hopper and Murray joining the fight, the army will know to bring flamethrowers when they're patrolling the main rift. However, this is just a temporary fix. Sooner or later, the reality of Vecna's threat will directly affect everyone who hasn't evacuated from Hawkins. The show's background characters, many of which were clueless about Hawkins' supernatural phenomenon, will be forced to face the dangers of the Upside Down. Season 5 should show how the residents adapt to living in a post-apocalyptic disaster town, whether in terms of everyday survival or outright fighting back. Indeed, the threat of Vecna has always been just a problem for the main cast, but now the cat's out of the bag. Maybe someone else in town can deliver the edge they need against Vecna. However it happens, Hawkins residents need to finally join the fight in Season 5. With the residents themselves knowing what it takes to stand against Vecna, this sets up a more interesting epilogue for the show. Speaking of which, the epilogue should include a funeral for everyone who's died, even Vecna.
I didn't run away this time, right? No. You didn't run.
In fact, after the gang finally defeats Vecna somehow, the town of Hawkins should erect some type of permanent memorial to everyone who died in the affair, from Billy, who was killed by the Mind Flayer, and Chrissy, whom Vecna killed first, to Eddie, who gave his life for the fight. Hawkins has a lot of people to remember and be grateful for. After the dust is settled, Hawkins needs to get together not just to say goodbye, but to properly honor and remember those they've lost. This includes Vecna, whom Eleven would insist is as much a victim of Dr. Brenner as she was. In fact, whoever survives should make Dr. Brenner's atrocities public knowledge, if only to warn the world of the very real dangers of the Upside Down and to save other children from any similar experiments going on across the world. And the crux of all these crucial developments should be the final funeral, which properly signals that the main plot has finally come to an end.
What have you done?
On that note, Season 5 should be the real ending of the series. At this point in its topsy-turvy plot, Stranger Things simply cannot afford to push its luck past Season 5. They can make Season 5 into another 2-parter, or structure it however they want, but in the next season, this show should deliver a definitive ending to the main plot. For the sake of viewers who want more, Season 5 could maybe set up some possible spin-offs. After all, life goes on in Hawkins, and the mostly teenage cast will soon start their lives as adults. In terms of the main story, however, everything should get settled in the conclusion of Season 5. Do you agree or disagree? How do you think the series should end? Thank you for watching Screen Rant, and stay tuned for more streaming news.